Sound Candy Talk Live News.
Okay. Fellow Kenyans, ladies and gentlemen, today we met as the National Executive Council of the DCP party at our headquarters, and in attendance were honorable members who are great friends of the party. When we agreed on the following: one, as we approach the by-elections scheduled for 27th November 2025, and in preparation for subsequent nominations and elections, the National Executive Council has enhanced two vital organs of the party: one, the National Elections Board; two, the National Appeals and Dispute Resolution Panel. These organs will provide the expertise required to ensure fair, transparent, and effective internal processes. As a party, we are firm in advocating for democratic governance, the protection of civil liberties, and the defense of Kenya's sovereignty against the excesses of the punitive Kenya Kwanza regime. Kenya will witness 1 senatorial, 6 National Assembly, and 17 ward by-elections on 27 November. Has resolved to work closely with like-minded partners to secure victory for the DCP candidates across the country. In the spirit of collaboration and fairness under the united opposition and our resolve to unity ahead of the 2027 general elections, leading to the identification of one presidential candidate to face William Ruto, we have agreed that DCP will support the Democratic Party in Bere North constituency, acknowledging that the seat was previously held by the Democratic Party and should rightfully be retained for the party's candidate to complete a full term, and hence DCP has agreed to give support to the Democratic Party candidate and start down our candidate at DCP. This decision has also been informed by the recognition that the Honorable Justin Bidan Mutuli, the party leader of the Democratic Party, is a great leader from that region with enhanced capacity and undoubted leadership qualities to lead the Democratic Party into winning the seat. We shall therefore support the Democratic Party candidate and ask our members in Bere North to support that candidate from the Democratic Party. Number two, we have also agreed that we support the Wiper Patriotic Front candidate in Mubuni ward in Machakos County under the opposition banner. Equally, we have also agreed to support the candidate of the DAP Kenya candidate in Kabuchai and Chwele ward in Bungoma County. For other elective positions, DCP shall field and mobilize fully to campaign, popularize, and seek votes at our party ticket. As we compete, we shall respect our opposition parties in those regions, mindful that democracy is the preserve of every Kenyan. This consensus and agreement among the parties in the united opposition only applies to the by-elections. However, let me confirm that in the 2027 general election, DCP shall field a presidential candidate and other candidates in the 290 constituencies, 47 counties, and 1,450 wards across the Republic. Three, to strengthen our campaign machinery, NEC has today established a fully equipped electoral secretariat domiciled at the party headquarters. This secretariat will coordinate strategy, logistics, messaging, branding, and resource mobilization for our candidates. Security and national concern. Fellow Kenyans, as a party, we are deeply concerned with the security situation in northeastern Kenya and particularly in Mandera County. We have spoken not once, not twice about our diplomacy and Kenya's interference through William Ruto on external affairs of other nations, including Somalia, Sudan, Southern Sudan, DRC, among others. The Constitution of Kenya, Article 1, reminds us all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with this Constitution. Yet today, that sovereignty is under siege from foreign forces and a leadership too timid or too compromised to defend it. The Democracy for the Citizens Party therefore registers its deepest outrage at the continued presence of a foreign militia from Jubaland entrenched in Madera County and its environs. This is not just a policy misstep, it's national betrayal. Kenya, once an island of peace and stability in the Horn of Africa, has now been reduced to a staging ground for foreign forces and rival militias. This is a dangerous affront to our sovereignty and a mockery of sacrifices our gallant soldiers who fought for decades and shed blood to secure our borders. Let it be known, Kenya is not for sale, and for not an inch of our soil shall ever be occupied by foreign powers. Bwana Ruto, you shall not sell our hard-earned freedom for a mess of pottage. We the people shall reclaim it. The Constitution of Kenya, Article 238, Sub-Article 1, states, national security shall be pursued in compliance with the law and with utmost respect for the sovereignty of the people of Kenya. And Article 241, Sub-Article 3, makes it clear the Kenya Defense Forces, KDF, shall defend and protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Republic. The silence from the Commander-in-Chief is all telling. Little can be left for guesswork. If William Ruto's recklessness and casualness as militia from Jubaland continue to wreak havoc on the Kenyan soil is anything to go by, he must be advised that the presence of foreign militias in Mandera County is a direct violation of international law and a breach of Kenya's diplomatic obligations. DCP party therefore demands with immediate effect, 1, that Jubaland militia and all foreign militia be flushed out of our country and the Kenyan soil with immediate effect. 2, that the learning institutions in Mandera closed due to invasion by the Jubaland militia and other terrorist groups be reopened immediately and learners be provided with security without fail. The children of Kenya should not pay the price for cowardice or business interests of William Ruto and his allies. Number 3, that the KDF be allowed to discharge its full constitutional mandate without interference from corrupt individuals in the executive who seek to mortgage Kenya's sovereignty for personal gain. Mr. William Ruto, we are putting you on notice that Kenya's territorial integrity is sacred. Our sovereignty is not negotiable. If you cannot defend the people and the Republic of Kenya from foreign invasion, not forgetting your bloody track record over the last 3 years, you know the honorable thing to do. I urge the patriotic people of Kenya to stand firm and defend our constitution, safeguard our sovereignty, and protect our children's future before it is too late. The freedom we enjoy today as a country was never given to us. Our parents went into the forest and shed blood. The DCP party reiterates that our commitment to Kenyans is anchored in justice, fairness, democracy, and accountability. We shall remain steadfast in defending the rights of all citizens, working with partners under the United Opposition banner, and ensuring that the will of the people is respected, protected, and fulfilled. God bless you. God bless Kenya. That's okay.
Sound Candy Talk Live News.
The Pharisees couldn't stand him. When they found out they couldn't stop him, Pilate couldn't find any fault in him. Herod couldn't kill him. Death couldn't hang him. And the grave couldn't hold him. Yeah! That's my king. That's my king. Hallelujah, yes, we are naga.
central bank data, it shows that the Kenyan economy, we have now borrowed. Our national debt is now over 12.1 trillion Kenya shillings. For the last 3 years, our country has borrowed in excess of 3.5 trillion Kenya shillings. So I would want to request all of us as the leadership, and especially those who have the opportunity to make decisions in the executive. Let us serve our country with dedication. And let us not seek to give good narratives out there when the Kenyan economy is actually being teared down or torn down. We have borrowed over 3.5 trillion Kenya shillings in 3 years. President Kibaki borrowed 1.2 trillion in the entire 10 years he was president. And therefore we have borrowed 3 times in 3 years. We have borrowed 3 times what Kibaki borrowed in 10 years. That's the money Kenya has borrowed in the last 3 years alone. 3 times what Kibaki borrowed in 10 years. And in that money, I have not included other debts that Kenya has now become clever to borrow in the name of something called securitization. I have not mentioned even that. It therefore means the economy of Kenya is borrowing 100 billion every month. And every single day, when the lights go off, every day, every single day, Kenya is borrowing 3.4 billion every day. That we are borrowing in a minute. You can do the calculations and see. In an hour, maybe we are borrowing around 137 every 1 hour. I'm saying this because we are now headed to the elections. And what governments do, they focus more on re-election, and we forget that we have a country to lead after the elections. And what that means is that every time we are nearing elections, we start having something called fiscal expansion. Because maybe there is nothing much to be seen for the past year, then in basically 1 year, we want everything to be seen. And therefore, what do? We become reckless in borrowing. Kenya is there now. That now our debt is 12 trillion Kenya shillings. I want to request that we do not have to put our country in that kind of pedestal in terms of borrowing. Kenya has always had development for the many years, but we never had to borrow that much. President Kibaki did a lot of development. He borrowed only 1.2 trillion for 10 years. Where is the 1.2 trillion we are borrowing every year going? To make the matter worse, everything you see with your eyes happening in Kenya now, in terms of development, what you can see, for example, the expansion of this Keno-Marwa Road, is not even part of the 12 trillion borrowed. Is another loan on the side called fuel levy securitization. Everything else you see in Kenya in terms of development, like even the Talanta Stadium, is also not part of the 12 trillion debt. That is another debt, securitization of the sports fund, where we borrowed 46 billion and will be paying 100 billion in interest rate alone after 15 years. Even the expansion of Nairobi-Nakuru Road is also not part of the 12 trillion you have borrowed. That is NSSF money being used as a PPP to build that road. I request those who are in government, you have already borrowed 1.2 trillion every year. And even what we can see with our eyes is actually not part of that borrowing. Please, kueni na huruma ya nchi ya Kenya. Even as we preside over the affairs of our country, let us be, tujue kwa akili zetu ya kwamba, there is Kenya after elections. Let us not run our country in terms of overheating it. We must avoid to become like Sri Lanka. We must avoid to become like Ghana. We must avoid to become like Ethiopia, we must avoid to become like Zambia in the recent years. Because Kenya is a strong country with internal resources. This issue of profligate borrowing must come to an end if we really care about this country. Asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki.
Asante sana. I'll kindly request Bwana Mheshimiwa.
You've dreamed about the perfect wedding, the dress, the vows, the happily ever after. But let's ask the most important question. Before you say I do, are you truly ready for the lifelong commitment that comes after the honeymoon period fades? Bernard Ngozzi's groundbreaking ebook Are You Marriage Ready? Is the ultimate guide to building a successful, lasting marriage. This isn't just another relationship book, it's a heart-to-heart conversation that prepares you for one of life's biggest decisions, getting married. Are you choosing love or just infatuation? Are you building a marriage or just planning a wedding day?
Reading this book was a game changer. I realized I wasn't as ready as I thought, but now I'm on the right path.
Don't wait until it's too late. Invest in your future. Download Are You Marriage Ready today. Link in the description below. Your future spouse deserves the best. Are you ready?
Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Kipindi cha mahubiri kimerudi tena kwa kishindo kwenye Sound Candy Talk. Tunakufundisha, kukuelimisha na kukutia moyo kwenye Daily Bite. Mafundisho kamili ya Biblia kila siku kwenye runinga uipenda ya Sound Candy Talk.
Gloria Milimu, KTN.
Now, President William Ruto has in the last 3 years remained on the spot over his diplomatic approach since his inauguration in 2022.
Under President Ruto, the administration has embraced a more assertive and diversified foreign policy.
However, Kenya's involvement in some diplomacy activities has led to diplomatic friction.
As KTN's Daniel Kariuki reports, critics argue the domestic human rights record could undercut President Ruto's international appeal.
I, William Samoei Ruto.
It is just 3 years since President William Ruto's inauguration, and his foreign policy stance has generated interest, admiration, and criticism in equal measures. Immediately he was sworn in as president, Ruto's first foreign decision was an attempt to sever ties with the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. The move left Kenya's diplomacy on a tight spot, and since then, Ruto's approach to matters foreign affairs has left diplomacy experts keen on every move. However, it was swiftly reversed.
The foreign policy of this country, perhaps it's the only policy that the president himself thinks about, writes about, and then instructs his Ministry of Foreign Affairs to implement.
It gave an impression of shifting of our foreign policy, which I think wasn't in line with AU's standing.
President Ruto's approach to regional, continental, and global stability has been a mixed bag. While some of his efforts have shown promise, others have encountered major roadblocks, leaving tongues wagging. Kenya's involvement in Sudan's RSF diplomacy has led to diplomatic friction. The Haiti mission, though symbolically significant, has faced legal and public criticism with concerns about resource diversions and mission legitimacy. Offering to send 1,000 police officers to Haiti, a nation in turmoil, seemed like a questionable choice.
In fact, at this point, to be very honest, as a country, I'm super proud of our officers who are there. The incidents that have been there are isolated.
Up to now, even at the UN level, whenever matters security are talked about, Kenya is at the top of the table.
Recently, the government has been on the spot over Jubaland forces from Somalia, allegedly crossed into the country following recent reports from Mandera County residents.
We should not just have this military, a government-to-government approach. Let's also use the resources at our disposal. That's my advice.
I think it is high time that the government does not bury its head in the sand, because concerns coming from the ground, it is necessary they be addressed.
The president's push for a visa-free country, especially for Africans visiting Kenya, arguing that it was unfair to require visa application from African visitors, emphasized that they were returning to their African home. One of the intriguing aspects of President Ruto's foreign policy is his approach to global relations. While he initially appeared to distance Kenya from Chinese investments, citing concerns of a mounting public debt, he has since demonstrated a willingness to maintain close ties with China. Seen from the West, President Ruto is a dependable ally, but he has visited China frequently recently, blasting out US of a move to reconsider Kenya as a major non-NATO ally.
What the president has been firm about is what I will call in economic terms quid pro quo. What do you get in return from another country?
Whenever Kenya goes to West, in one way or another, there is something it's getting there. So it is give and take.
The president is not in the deep waters, he's in the shallow waters of foreign affairs. I don't think he knows what he's doing.
While Ruto's foreign policy initiatives have been both bold and ambitious, there is a glaring issue that needs addressing: the communication strategy of Kenya's foreign affairs apparatus. The country's foreign ministry has faced criticism for its blurred and inconsistent communication on foreign affairs matters.
Whenever communication is not made properly, friends, we cannot get it right. We must begin to put our house in order in terms of communication within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
The President Ruto is in a quagmire. And his quagmire reminds me of that Englishman called Shakespeare.
Observers argue that effective foreign policy is crucial in promoting countries' interest on the global stage, hence should not be underestimated. Daniel Kariuki, KTN.